What I mean, when I see, what I see, what I feel, when I dream, when I be, I'm a freak. What up? Oh, what up? Everybody look at me when I'm free, when I feel what I see, when I do it, I'm a freak. What up? Oh, what up? Say what we got, it's hot to spot, give up the drop, see what we got, do what, do what? We got to go, the body flow, too hot to show, the front row, we won't stop. Hey! What I mean, when I see, what I see, what I feel, when I dream, when I be, I'm a freak. What up? Oh, what up? Hey! Hey!
push yourself. Now from your head to your toes. Come on. Push yourself. Come on. You gotta push yourself. Now from your head to your toes. Come on.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another stream of Latin Explaining with Denise. My name is Denise Gonzalez. For those who do not know me, for those who do, welcome back to Latin Explaining. I hope everybody has had an amazing weekend and has started this week being productive and making you guys some money. So welcome, guys. Make sure you like this video before we start today's show. I see that Rolando Music Only already started the chat. So thank you guys for starting it. Now let's get this show started. You guys know how we do it here. Let's get this show started.
To the next level.
Well, guys, as many of you guys know, we have been following the Eliezer Molina's movement and case regarding the beach of Puerto Rico. And I just want to go quick over this news. I know I'm not at my usual time. Today was a very crazy day for me, and I had to do a lot of things. So I apologize for that. But definitely, one thing I wanted to cover real quick was the situation happening, and some development has happened when it comes to what's going on in the beach. And now the engineer college, basically, which is like an association in Puerto Rico that determine if something is legal or not, depending on their determination based on their knowledge, got involved now because they want the data to actually explore the maritime and landline area, and actually see if that is public domain and if it's viable to actually build something in that specific space. I don't have to go over the details. If you guys do not know what I'm talking about, I will make sure when I end this stream to link the video below. But this means now that, there's so much noise being made by the group of protesters that have been staying day and night in Rincon, Puerto Rico, to actually stop this from happening. And that has caused so many noise that now a lot of people are going to evaluate, especially professionals are evaluating this whole situation with Eliezer Molina. So definitely, guys, I wanted to share that with you guys real quick. Now we're going to keep this moving because, trust me, we have a lot to unpack with our main topic, but not before actually going through our new segment. So let's get, like I said, this whole situation started, and I'll continue with the rest of my commentary. Yes, guys, there's some developments in music, and I wanted to share with you guys something that's happening that's pretty exciting. And I want to share with you guys because as we speak right now, 17 minutes ago to be exact, uh, this has just premiered. And if you have not heard it, trust me, I have not heard it. I don't have my opinion yet on it, but this is what's happening. It just happened and premiered 17 years ago. I mean, 17 minutes ago, so 17 years. But definitely, guys, if you guys do not know who is on this screen, I'll tell you. That's Bad Bunny and the notorious bachata group Aventura. They literally 18 minutes ago, they just premiered their collaboration together. I am so excited that this has happened because if you guys have not been plugged to Latin music, especially in the early 2000s and whatnot, you would not know that Aventura has been one of the most notorious groups when it comes to bachata and actually push bachata into the mainstream. So definitely, I will give like a little review on this later this week. But trust me, after we finish discussing everything we're discussing today, we are going to listen to this, okay? So definitely, guys, I wanted to share those music news with you. I'm hella excited. Like I said, we have not seen Aventura together creating new music since they part ways, I believe, in 2011. And it's been a decade that we have not seen them other than reencuentros concerts and whatnot, but they have not produced new music together, let alone with legendary Bad Bunny. So definitely, guys, this is a big win for everybody in Latin America. I'm super excited. I don't know if you guys are excited, but I am. It's something I look forward to, and we will see what they come up with. Hopefully it's a great song because we know both Aventura and Bad Bunny create amazing music. So definitely something to look forward to. This is a new late summer hit. I don't want to predict it like that, but to me it's going to be a late summer hit. So definitely it's something to look into. And like I said, music is getting like a lot of hot. We're in the midst of actually waiting for Anuel AA to release his new album, and we'll see what happens. But till the next album is released, we still have Emmanuel to enjoy. And in the meantime, come on now, Bad Bunny and Aventura. Let's see what else is to unpack on today's episode. Guys, today's episode is going to be very emotional for me. It's something that is extremely exciting. Yesterday, Puerto Rico received their first gold medal in any field and track and field, Olympics. We have been going to the Olympics for the longest time, and I want you guys to see how Jasmine Camacho Quinn just won gold for Puerto Rico. How freaking exciting is that? I just want you guys to see how this woman has literally a lot of power. There was a point where she was actually close to losing the first spot because of USA contender and her were actually head to head in the whole competition, but definitely she brought it home. So congratulations to Jasmine Camacho Quinn on bringing this one home despite Gigi Fernandez's uh, hate campaign simply because she's salty. But definitely, guys, I'm so excited to announce that yes, we did it. We have a Puerto Rican that actually brought home the gold medal for Puerto Rico. This is the second time. I want to remind you guys that this is the second time that any Puerto Rican, either male or female, has received a gold medal, and it's bringing it home. It's the second time. I want to remind you guys that the first time was in 2016 when Monica Puig won the gold medal in tennis representing Puerto Rico. That was the first time that La Borinqueña actually was played in any Olympics whatsoever. So, guys, like I said, this was amazing to see happen. I cannot stop. I'm so excited, And before you come for Jasmine, let me tell you something. She might not speak Spanish and whatnot, but she's more Puerto Rican than all the nasty Puerto Ricans that love to leave trash everywhere and still vote for the bipartisan. Okay, so before you come for me, talking about how she's not Puerto Rican and whatnot, make sure that you watch other Puerto Ricans that love to call themselves authentic Puerto Ricans, but they are not. Okay. So congratulations to Jasmine. I am actually very excited, you know, that she is actually representing us in every way in the Olympics, and she put so much effort into it, and trust me, she had the whole support of all of her people behind her. And I love the fact that she promised and she delivered. Okay. Not to take away from anybody else, but I admire this girl and her determination. It was amazing. And I'm very proud of what she did yesterday. So, congratulations, Jasmine, on your win. And let's keep it moving. Well, guys, the main topic today, it's going to be one that's controversial. I get it. It's super controversial, but definitely it's something that it was requested by many. I know a lot of people are not here, but you will catch me on the replay. So I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible so that you guys can enjoy it later on, either if you're working or working out and whatnot. But definitely it's something that, I want to discuss with you guys on today's show. So, modern censorship. Many of us, have started this whole, you know, interactions in social media, and especially after the C-19 pandemic we have seen more often now that a lot of our stuff gets flagged, a lot of our stuff gets deleted or reported and whatnot, and a lot of things are being blocked from reaching uh mainstream. And that is something that's just crazy to me, simply because there's a lot to actually unpack when it comes to censorship, to be honest with you. And it's so insane to me that, we're seeing this happening, and a lot of people are just complaining now. But also, we have a lot of people pushing for the cancellation of so many, simply because we don't align with their views or their statements or their opinions. And we see a lot of attacks on either personal level or trying to be like intellectuals, like I like to call them and whatnot. But we see a lot of people actually, uh, coming for others simply because they don't agree with the views that other people give them. Now, I will say that we're going to go today into the beginning of censorship, why we have all this censorship on the internet that used to be a home of our opinions and our views. And I want you guys to join me and take a step back to let's get on this back to the future type of, let's get on our cyber DeLorean and actually start unpacking what happened initially, before we had the internet, before we had access to all this social media, and everybody was able to do this in the journalism, like people I have even interviewed here, like the Lion Man, for example. We had what it was, the telecommunications law of 1934. And basically, that was the law that established the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, that is in charge of regulating what is pushed through radio and television, what was pushed back then. And you cannot curse out, you cannot do many things because you were going to get slapped with fines and whatnot. There is a point where I used to work in the radio, and the FCC regulated even that every half an hour, and every time it was an hour, you had to actually brand your radio station. For example, sometimes when you're listening to the wave, you hear every half an hour you will hear a banner that will say 94.7 the wave, all that stuff. It's simply because it's FCC regulated, and it has to be broadcasted, otherwise they will get fined. Also, there are certain things like, taking away cursing and stuff and explicit content from music, and other things like sex or nudity or tobacco or alcohol and whatnot. It had to be regulated somehow. All of those things were regulated thanks to the telecommunications law of 1934 that established the FCC to regulate the stuff that was broadcasted to us. Now, after that, in 1996, President Bill Clinton established the Telecommunications Act of 1996. And what that created, they wanted to revisit, the telecommunications as we know it. So before the internet and throughout the inception of the internet that happened in 1996, because even though the internet was created like way before, and even Wi-Fi with the signal hopping invention that was created for war, the internet was only used by the military to communicate amongst themselves, but it was then expanded to everybody. So now, after that, everybody had access to the internet. It's just the devices needed to get a little better, so it was faster. So eventually, what this created, the Telecommunications Act, at that point a lot of people back it up, because we thought, well, now not only journalists from big networks have the opportunity to jump in, but also we have people that can just jump into independent journalism, even if they don't have a degree, and start just reporting on stuff as they see it, because now we have the inception of the internet, so people are going to have more access to information. That was the quote unquote reason to create the Telecommunications Act, and we went from having up to 50 networks to have only 6. And now with the Telecommunications Act, unfortunately, we have corporations dominating in this huge networks, and they're getting now corporate money to actually tell you um, fake realities and alternate realities. We have seen this even in the 70s and the 80s. The CIA warned us about, fake news and how they used to manipulate the public. But the reason why this act is the beginning of censorship, in my personal opinion, you can differ. If, like I said, if I ruffle your feathers in the wrong way, leave your nasty comment, but don't come at me. I didn't make the rules, right? Is that with all of this competition, a lot of networks could not put up with the lack of ratings and the loss of ratings, because now people were looking at something different that was more fresh. So, what corporations did is that they started funding they pick this 6 mainstream media and started funding them through different things, and giving them so much money, to the point where now we only have these people, owning media. We only have, people, that actually gets paid to tell you lies, depending on what big corporations want. It says, music only says BitChute is becoming bigger because they don't take down content. Yeah, so those Anchor and Discord doesn't regulate like that, and Anchor as well. Now, people at first was very excited because they didn't had any type of censorship in the internet. You could actually research and do whatever the hell you wanted. But as we have progressed into social medias, we have seen how taking corporation money actually, or other types of, investments into you, into this social media, has created a lot of regulations, and I'm going to explain how. um, every time, I don't know if you guys have watched The Social Dilemma, but every time that, you know you see ads, on your internet searches, or you see it on Instagram or YouTube or even Facebook, which is to me kind of like a semi-dead social media right now, only for like baby boomers and Gen Xers and whatnot. So when you see these ads, make sure that you understand that those are corporations that are actually paying YouTube creators to sell you and push a lot of product. So of course they're getting money, and at some point, because they keep getting money from big corps, they're going to start just regulating different things. We saw last year, as a matter of fact, before all this crazy censorship started, we saw last year how Jack Dorsey, Mark Zuckerberg, and all these people were you know a call to Congress to actually have some discussions. I don't know how many of you guys saw that public hearing, but in reality, they were trying to grill them. And after that, all of a sudden, we have President Trump being banned from every social media. After that, we see that if you express your opinion about the jab, regarding C-19, you're going to get flagged. You're going to get taken down. If you state your opinion about how you think that Space Jam should not be politically correct, you know, they'll take down your stuff. There's a lot of people that complain about that. Music Only says YouTube was a great platform in 2009. Absolutely. And he also says Spanish speaking YouTube was fun as fuck. Yeah, it was. To be honest with you, when the internet had its inception and nobody was regulating how much you could say about something and how much you couldn't say, you know, it was way better because there was a lot less anxiety and paranoia and people. But you know what's crazy? I believe that the problem started when we started accommodating everybody's emotions, and that's where we're heading now with the internet. Because if somebody gets offended, or like a group of people gets offended about something, they will report it and you will be taken down and canceled. That's what created the cancel culture. With the access to information, we also have more access to, like for example, Joe Biden can actually burp in Washington, and in Saudi Arabia, they will know in 3 minutes. So, with all that access to information, they found a way to regulate in every different country what was going to be exposed. Even music right now is being regulated. There's a lot of places where certain music is not allowed. There's a lot of places where you cannot say a lot of things, and many things get flagged simply because the governments have ownership of the internet and telecommunications. And unfortunately, we're seeing the burnt of it. We're seeing the result of that. And, it's causing a lot of stress. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily disagree with censorship. And I'm going to explain why. I agree with the fact that we should let people express themselves fully as long as it doesn't put anybody in danger. Okay, if it doesn't put anybody in danger, then we should not regulate that. If somebody's just saying disrespectful shit, then you should let them say disrespectful shit. That's what they want to say. Don't you guys agree? Unfortunately, we live in a society that people are so emotional and so reactive that when somebody says something you don't agree with, immediately you go to like, okay, censor. Let's report this. And that is hilarious to me because it's like I've said before, why are we going so much through people's feelings? Why we're always looking at people's feelings and trying to preserve and make their feelings feel comfortable, when in reality feelings are immaterial. Your feelings don't actually matter to anybody that is not yourself. And that is in all honesty. Like, I don't care if people get offended, but it is true. Just because you felt some type of way because somebody said something you did not like, that doesn't mean that that person gets to be canceled or reported, because there's people that think that way. We're not a monolith. We're not the same person. A lot of people are going to associate with whatever they believe is correct and their views. And I'm all up for it. Like I said, if it doesn't involve somebody getting hurt or in harm's way or put somebody in danger of either being assaulted or killed and whatnot, there should not be any censorship, because people, we're removing from people discernment, we're removing from people actually critical thinking and free thinking, to that degree. And what we're basically doing is that we're creating a society that now doesn't have a complete outlook and look into reality, and that is a problem. That's not going to end well. We're going to have a society that is gonna either react based on fear. I'm not gonna say nothing in the fear of being canceled. And like I said, that life creates a lot of anxiety, because you tend to walk on eggshells. When in reality, if you don't like someone's views, don't go into those spaces. As a matter of fact, you guys know I have views on a certain group of other Latino YouTubers in this community that we have created, and we call them the slow tips. But you will never find me in the slow tip streams, simply because I don't align with it. And trust me, I did try it. I did not get offended and started, throwing jabs at nobody. But to be honest with you, um, I don't have to report the stuff they say. There's a lot of things that they say that I don't believe in. There's a lot of stuff that they say that might come as offensive to select groups of people, because in my personal views, that's disrespectful. Now, do I believe that they deserve to be censored and canceled? Absolutely not, because they're entitled to say whatever they want. Now, the same thing can be applied here. The block button is there for a reason. If you don't like what I say, block the fuck out of me. Don't come into my spaces. It's the same thing. You have to exercise choice. You have the freedom to actually decide. But what this whole thing is doing is removing the freedom of people to actually be able to speak on different topics and their opinion. We're seeing it with the C-19 bags. Right now you cannot, and I'm going to expand on that. I'm not against it. If you have an underlying issue that compromises your immune system, and the benefits of the jab outweighs the risk, then you should go and get it. Now, I have not got it, and I don't feel comfortable getting it, because right now we don't know a lot about it. And I know a lot of people tell you it's safe, just go get it. Just go get it. It's safe. Just shut up. Blah blah blah. Blah. And they will just shame you for not going with the herd mentality. But in reality, what they fail to tell you is that no matter how point zero zero whatever communities has gotten bad results, nobody can guarantee you're not gonna get those side effects. And second of all, nobody can guarantee you won't die from this. And something that people seem to forget is that, to be honest with you, this is not FDA approved. This is just an emergency permission to administer on humans. If you can find and produce how the FDA, this jab is FDA approved, I'll send you $1,000. But it's not till this day. I want you to find it. Let's make it clear. Before today, August 2nd of 2021, if you could find before today any document that it's legit that says that this is FDA approved and not approved for emergencies, which is the approval that they have, then I'll send you some money. Produce the proof. But in reality, this is just an emergency use. So nobody can actually bully you into, taking an experimental vax. That's just retarded to me. But if you were to say it, then you get censored. Make that make sense. Does that make sense? It doesn't make any sense. So now we're seeing, like I said, to what degree we're being censored. There is a lot of things happening right now, with America and the military industrial complex, that we're not supposed to speak on, and we will be discredited for. But in reality, we know that that is true. There's a lot of things happening that we know they're true, but in reality we're not supposed to speak on them simply because we will get canceled for it. Now, one thing I will say is that researching to actually do this topic, and that's the reason why I brought it to you guys, is where this whole censorship in modern era, modern society today, it's going. And I'm going to share with you guys something that's absolutely fucking creepy. Okay, you guys know I like to keep it real. This is freaking creepy. Okay, I'm gonna read it to you guys so you guys can know. ADL just released, some news, and they says PayPal partners with ADL to fight extremism and protect marginalized communities. In San Jose, California, on July 26th of 2021, PayPal Holdings, in partnership with ADL, which is the Anti-Defamation League, today announced a new partnership initiative to fight extremism and hate throughout the financial industry and across at-risk communities. This is the latest effort by PayPal in combating racism, hate, and extremism across its platforms and the industry. Now, you might think, what the fuck does this have to do with censorship? And it says, through his collaboration, PayPal and ADL have launched a research effort to address the urgent need to understand how extremist and hate movements throughout the US are attempting to leverage financial platforms to fund criminal activity. The intelligence gathered through this research initiative will be shared broadly across the financial industry and with policymakers and law enforcement. Now they're involved in the law. By identifying partners across sectors with common goals and complementary resources, we can make an even greater impact than any of us could do on our own, said Aaron Karsmer, Chief Risk Officer and EVP Risk and Platforms PayPal. We are excited to partner with ADL, other nonprofits, and law enforcement in our fight against hate in all its forms. The initiative with PayPal will be led through ADL Center of Extremism and Leading Authority of Extremism, Terrorism, and Hate. PayPal and ADL will focus on further uncovering and disrupting the financial pipelines that support extremist and hate movements. In addition to extremist and anti government organizations, the initiative will focus on actors and networks spreading and profiting from all forms of hate and bigotry against any community. I'm going to read that part again in case you guys are not we're like away from this, because yeah, it did said that. In addition to extremist and anti-government organizations, the initiative will focus on actors and networks spreading and profiting from all forms of hate and bigotry against any community. It says all of us, including in the private sector, have a critical role to play in fighting the spread of extremism and hate. With this new initiative, we're setting a new standard for companies to bring their expertise to critical social issues, said Jonathan Greenblatt, CEO of ADL. We have a unique opportunity to further understand how hate spreads and develop key insights that will inform the efforts of the financial industry, law enforcement, and our communities in mitigating extremist threats. Core to the PayPal and ADL initiative in the establishment, an expansion of a coalition with other civil rights partner organizations, such as the League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, to protect marginalized communities against extremism. PayPal and ADL will work closely with these organizations to share trends in extremism and hate with marginalized and vulnerable communities, with the goal of helping to empower and safeguard those communities which are frequently targets of hate groups and extremist acts. This innovative partnership between ADL and PayPal encourages us to think outside the box when fighting evil. We hope to see more private and public partnerships such as this to help raise the social awareness of the public to the dangers that exist in plain sight. Attacking these hateful groups' revenue sources weakens their reach and exposes just how unstable they truly are. The data and research collected from experts will help organizations like LULAC inform their strategy to combat evil. We congratulate these organizations and will continue to stand alongside them against hate. And I'm going to read the last part. It says, I applaud PayPal and the ABL for joining forces to combat hate and extremist movements who seek to utilize financial platforms to bankroll their criminal activities and profit from the spread of racism and bigotry, said Manhattan District Attorney Cy Vance Jr. My office stands ready to assist financial institutions and businesses of all kinds in this urgent fight to stop hate and protect members of historically marginalized communities. Now, I'm gonna break it down for a lot of people. I see that all aboard and common sense and common are here. Thank you. Welcome, guys. I'm gonna say something, guys. This is absolutely bullshit. Okay. Now, and I'm gonna say why. You know, what stops these people tomorrow? Right now, they're selling it to us just like they sold us the Telecommunications Act of 1996. Oh, it's going to give people a lot of freedom because now we have the internet. It doesn't matter if the networks are shut down. You know, we have 50 networks and now we have six because those were the ones that took corporate money in order for them to survive. I see that MK's Melanated Knight's Echo Chamber is here. Hi, Melanated Knight. What's up? So, because we have the Telecommunications Act, that basically put all the networks in hot water because now they had the internet to compete with and every freelance journalist to compete with for ratings. And people were going into the novel internet as everybody started getting devices to access the internet and become bootleg journalism. You know, so basically, after that happened, a lot of people, exactly, all aboard monopoly. It's a monopoly, and I'm gonna explain how. That's why I went through the whole Telecommunications Act before I explain what's happening right now. Um, After that happened, only networks that had the capital to survive. We have CNN, MSNBC, Fox, NBC. We only have six. So definitely those six took corporate money, corporate bribes to actually be able to survive the impact of the internet. And that's how they sold us the Telecommunications Act. Mr. Bill Clinton, former president of the United States, sold us the Telecommunications Act, replacing the Telecommunications Law of 1934 by telling us everybody will be okay. Everybody will have a voice. There's no problem with this. So the timeline tells you they started in 1934. The FCC regulating if you curse out or if you listen to explicit content, which I don't agree or believe in, but hey, it is what it is. So after 1934, now we have the Telecommunications Act in 1996 that replaces the Telecommunications Law of 1934 and is downsizing is downsizing big networks and replacing it with the internet through spectrum. Now, after that, now instead of everybody having a voice, which is what we were promised in 1996, now we're having a lot of censorship to the point that now PayPal with ADL is going to start tackling these groups using the internet to actually shut down your account so that you don't get paid if you don't agree with the views of the kumbaya views. Because what says tomorrow, I get it, if it's against racism and whatnot, that's okay. But what tells you tomorrow that you and your views are not going to be looked at in society as hate speech? Just because you don't agree, with whatever they're saying. And I agree with what Music Only account is saying. I just can't say it because hello. You know why, Music Only. You know why. So definitely, now we're seeing how they're trying to get not only canceling you, but also getting in your pocket. So every time people come at me with, oh, what you should and should not say, I kind of semi cringe, because like I said before, I don't control or police what people say. Say whatever the fuck you want to say. Now, I don't go into spaces, and I don't visit spaces or frequent spaces that don't align with my mindset, because I make, like common sense says, common sense ain't that common, and people cannot make choices now. So the government is doing choices for you and for me, and deciding what is hate and what is not. So tomorrow, like I said, what's stopping the government now to getting in the hands and the pockets of people? Because now they're selling us this as criminal organizations or hateful organizations. But like I said, what tells you tomorrow that if you want to organize, because you don't like the way your governor works, and you organize and you just start fundraising and you're not spreading any hate, you just want to have him removed, you can't, because PayPal, and they're encouraging other financial institutions to join. PayPal decided that that's hate with ADL, so definitely they'll shut you down. You will not be able to have money, therefore they will dismantle your whole organization. So I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, but to be honest with you, it is just insane to me how censorship and cancel culture has gotten into this point, to the point where we cannot tell people if we don't agree with putting an experimental medicine in our bodies, simply because we don't fucking want to, simply because some of us don't want a stiff neck. We don't want to risk it. But if you say it in real time, they'll cancel you faster than Steve Harvey's show. So like I said, at the end of the day, is censorship and modern censorship something positive? I don't fucking think so. But maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe, you know Music only says censorship is not okay no matter the context. It is not okay, like I said, if it doesn't put anybody in harm's way. If you're not actively going after somebody to disrupt their peace, like, trying to locate where they are to stalk them, or to actually commit any criminal act, or actually actively going and cyber harass somebody. Freedom of speech should not be regulated. We should exercise decision, So definitely, I see common sense says, that's what's up. Nice chat out. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I love people that make sense. Millennials Night, Echo Chamber says, plus, I don't have the patience to hear all this foolishness all day. So, an hour or two. Oh, you're talking about your echo chamber. I'm going to stop right here. Melanated Night is going to premiere soon, an echo chamber. It's going to be a show that's going to be broadcasted once a month. So, definitely, if you want to go over there, to discuss different topics, like he said, it's going to be an hour or two. So, definitely, guys, for those of you that love his rants, make sure to tune in. I'll let you guys know if he lets me know, when this is gonna go up. But definitely you wanna go and subscribe to his channel. Once he has it, I don't know if he has it all together yet, but let me know if you have it. Put your link in the chat so people can go subscribe to your channel. But definitely, guys, I wanted to be very quick on this. I'm not sure if people wanna come in, because like I said, I know I'm going super late into the main topic, So like I said, it's going to be very brief today. I'm not gonna overextend this, but in my personal opinion, like I said, I don't condone censorship. I do agree that cyber stalking, cyber harassment, getting into spaces that you disagree with just to be spiteful and hateful and disgusting, simply because you have no attention and your life is pathetic, that also is wrong. And like I said, we should be left to block these people. And if they harass us, then yeah, involve law enforcement. But other than that, why we keep reporting stupidity? Stupidity needs to exist because there are stupid people. There are a demographic, like Jose has stated before. They need their own content. So I'm not mad that stupid people have different avenues where they can just vent about their shit. They also need a space. So why not? So if anybody has anything to say, you can put it in the chat. I'll bring you in. But definitely, like I said, it's so crazy. It's so crazy to me, how we have all this censorship, for no freaking reason. We have all of this stuff simply because the government wants to control our minds and control the way we think. And they do it, with all of this type of censorship. We were not promised this. We were promised that we will have spaces where we could be, free to express ourselves and have access to information. But it's only as long as your information and your opinion aligns with what the government is saying. So I definitely do not agree with that. I believe that that is the most stupidest thing that we can come up with. And like I said, if you are out there being part of the stupid cancel culture and reporting things that you don't agree with, well, I'm gonna tell you something. You are pretty lame, and you need to grow the fuck up. You know, grow a fucking pair. Because this is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous to me that we're going to have all of these regulations, all of this cancellation simply because your stupid feelings are hurt. Now, I see that, MK's echo chamber will be Friday at 3 p.m. MK, make sure you put your channel link in the chat so people can go subscribe. Um, but also, guys, like I was saying, there's a lot of things that our government has kept from us, and we don't even know. We cannot even talk about it. Like Music Only was saying that he cannot stand how the US panders to a group of people. you know so like I said, at the end of the day, they pander to who. But look at the thing, Music Only, it's not because this is not that specific spot, this is not their land and whatnot. But if you think about it, they get pandered because they have the money. That is the reason why. It's they have the money, so of course they're going to make the rules to actually align with what they do. They just will never tell you that so that you don't go ahead and do the same, which is why I even started this channel. He says cyberbullying is easy to combat, you just have to turn off your computer. No, no, I'm not against cyberbullying. I said cyber harassment. Cyber harassment is a real thing. Trust me, I've been a victim of it several times. And the reason why I say cyber harassment is because you don't have to be pushed out of any space. You're supposed to be able to exist in the cyber world without people being fucking weirdos. That's what I'm talking about. I see that MK is here. What's up, Melanated Night?
Yo, yo, yo.
What's up?
Nothing much. And
What
you?
what do you I'm good. What do you think about um
All
what I was
right.
complaining about modern censorship? If you heard at least some of it.
I heard all of it. But I don't know. I don't think you should be censored, but I kind of agree with common sense ain't common. Some people do complain because they just want to say, talk shit. And I'm like, if you guys don't want to be censored, then you got to come up with better reasons than that. Because sometimes people be complaining. I'm like, you just want an opportunity to talk and say anything inappropriate under the sun. So I mean, I'm all for us being able to say what we want, but keep keep them shitty comments to yourself.
I mean, but at the same time, if you think about it, for what reason? That's who they are. They're a shitty person.
True. I mean, yeah, we're all adults. I just, that's me. I have too much expectations of people to act like adults,
Hmm.
and I think that's what ultimately gets to me being pissed off and irritated because people do not rise to my standards, and they don't have to. I'm just one person, and I don't control people. But you think that would be a standard in the world going on today? So I mean, I don't know. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, and what do you think about PayPal partnering up with ADL now to get in the pockets of groups that they disagree with?
Uh, it's money. To be honest, like I knew some. It's always money, kiddo.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's always it's so crazy because a lot of people, a lot of my disagreements that I have with people, he says, music only says, I was cyber harassed and I simply logged off. No, fuck that. I'm not the type of person. If I'm cyber harassed, I've said it many times. I will just call the cops. I will call the FBI. I don't let people push me out of places. You know, if people are trying to do criminal behavior on the internet, then when you cross my rights, then I would enforce them for sure. But logging off, no. Mm-mm. Mama didn't raise no fool. Okay, you cyber harass me, I'm calling the FBI on you. It's that simple because people that don't have any self control need to be put in their place because we're supposed to all coexist in the internet in peace. And even if we're not at peace, we're supposed to exist in the internet without being fucking harassed by somebody. Because if they don't like you, for example, music only, if somebody doesn't like your views, you should be able to be left alone. Look at how far we have come to the point where people are hiding their faces and stuff simply because they don't want to be bothered because it's so fucking unbearable and we have so many fucking weirdos out there, you know. So yeah, it's like common sense. Common sense, he said, it's too much fuckery. Yeah, way too much fucking fuckery. And I don't like to come out and say to people, hey, don't cover your face or don't hide your name and whatnot. No, do whatever you have to do simply because come on. Simply because, a lot of people, love to cyber harass others simply because they are just weirdos. The
Hmm.
internet had given weirdos an opportunity to just do everything from the little basement and be fucking weirdos and harass people that they admire but love to hate. So
Well,
if you're being cyber harassed, music only, you're doing something right. So feel proud. More power to
well,
you.
the thing is, here's the thing about that. I think I have, like you guys saw, I created that logo recently because I wanted something different. I still have my pictures on here. I don't believe like I'm at the point where if we're gonna start getting on streams and we're gonna start combating each other, we gotta know who we are. Like I'll tell you who I am right now. I'll just say it because most of y'all know. My name is Justin. My last name is Taylor. Justin Taylor. So it is apparent that like for us to be having streams, we have to. Oh, sorry, I'm at work. Have to start having some transparencies.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's because, I can't really blame people for like when they decide to actually show themselves. I don't believe in it because honestly, like I said, I have nothing to hide. I'm the same person in YouTube and on my other social media platforms. I'm the same
Same.
freaking person.
Same.
So, and like I said, I am not necessarily scared of any of the weirdos because I will call the cops and I will call
Hmm.
the FBI, and at the last resort I will shoot no whoever comes my way. Now, one thing I would say is that I understand when people hide themselves simply because not everybody has to put up with poorly raised and overly emotional morons.
But the thing about that is, here's the thing, and we got these morons who come into streams, comment section, hell, even the panel. And at some point, like I said, I like to take power away. So like when I tell you what my name is, besides Melanated Night, I'm always gonna be Melanated Night. Melanated Night and Justin are the same person. I just like the name because it's cool. But at some point, you're gonna have to show your face. Like you gotta take you guys be. Oh, I don't want to be bullied. Take the power away from them. If you know who I am, shoot, go ahead and do it. But that sucks for you because I'm a I'm gonna definitely call the FBI.
Yeah.
But so you can go ahead. So I mean, like, it doesn't matter because as long as you have a presence on here, you're gonna get doxxed, you're gonna get bullied. So the best way to sometimes avoid that is to sometimes put yourself out.
Yeah, yeah, become like I said, you don't let nobody bully you into non-existence. I get it. Like I said, I'm not coming for you if you're trying to protect you and your loved ones, because like I said, we do not know people in their real lives, and you have probably you don't have any kind of protection against moronic beings. So I understand when people hide who they are. Now, I would say, in my personal case, I'm speaking just for me. I do not give a flying fuck, because there was somebody that told me, "Oh, Denise, you are next in the dogs, in the dogs line." And I was like, "You fucking idiot." I've been Denise Gonzalez on streams since the very beginning. I've shared my social media. So, I've said to many people I live in this great city of Los Angeles, I am not trying. Why are you going to dox my fifth grade uh, grades? Like, to be honest with you, what are you going to dox?
Yeah, people get weird. It's the same thing. Like, oh, well, you did this melanated night. Like, I didn't. Like, you didn't just hear me say that on no bullshit. You didn't just hear me say that on other streams about my person. I don't care, man. My life is pretty much it's boring.
Ramon, you have something else in the background. But yeah, definitely, it's it gets crazy. It gets too much crazy when we start policing other people's opinions simply because they don't align with us, and at the same time, we come after people and tell them, oh, just get out of the internet so you don't get harassed. But like I said, I get that. I get the point. Nobody has to put up with other people's weirdness. But to what point are we going to allow censorship to continue to happen? Now I'm gonna welcome Ramon. I don't know how much you watch of the stream. I'm gonna mute you, Rakim, a little bit while Ramon speaks. What's up, my fellow Boricua? I see you have Jasmine as your picture.
Yeah, yeah. I was putting it up now. I was also putting it up on Fighter Stream to see who will get triggered by it. But nobody was really caring about it because if they knew what me putting the avatar up was about, then they wouldn't have anything to say. They didn't have anything to say, thankfully, because I wasn't trying to really get into any arguments, but that was just showing support, kind of like showing the avatar out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
Definitely,
I'm
definitely.
happy for her, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And thanks for having me up. I'm not. I assure you, I'm not gonna be on for too long because it's kind of late here. I have
yeah.
to get up in a few hours, but I got the gist of what you were talking about. The main issue being about censorship, which is something I know about the ADL. I know about the ADL. This is a lobby group that has a lot of power, from what I understand, and then partnering off with PayPal and try to hit people in their pockets because they don't agree with them is something that is very worrying. It's very worrying
It
because
fucking is. I'm like scared shitless here, because go ahead. I'll say my commentary after you say your piece.
yeah, yeah, because we know who the ADL lobby is for. and I'm not trying to mention names, but they're quite powerful. They have quite the influence, and that move that they're doing, that's trying to hit people in their pockets. People hit people in their pockets that don't agree with them, that have maybe legitimate criticisms of a certain group, and they don't want to hear it because it's a group of people that cannot be criticized. I mean, and there is no freedom of speech. There is no real freedom of speech. It's the same. It's from the same group that will have you fired from your job, or
Yeah.
get you taken down from your platform because you have a different point of view and you are disagreeing with them, and it's very unfortunate. It's very
Look,
unfortunate as us that we're supposed to be a law abiding citizens, and we should be able to have the right to express ourselves, as not as it is not in a hateful manner. Now, if it's being in a hateful manner, that's okay. But unfortunately, certain criticisms, even if it is based on fact, can be labeled as being hateful. And
yeah.
then and no, objectively, criticism objectively cannot be hateful if it is objective, and if it is based on fact. I don't believe it can be hateful. That's just if it is factual. No, it can't be
Not
hateful. But they
not
want to
only
label it as
that,
hateful.
not
Yeah.
only that, something that I wanted to add to what you're saying, to piggyback from what you're saying, is that one of my one of my favorite YouTubers, that he's a comedian, but he turned into a freelance journalist, is Jimmy Dore, and also Team Black. And I remember when they both clash, even though they're friends, because Jimmy Dore said, "You know what? This dude, even though he's up for BLM and up for Medicare for all and for the raise of the minimum wage and the UBI and whatnot, he said we need to start talking to each other.
Yeah.
We need to clear out the air, arguments clear out the air. After an argument, there's nothing else to say. We know exactly what the other parts thinks and what we think. They know what we think." So he decided to interview this dude that was with the Boogaloo Boys
Uh-huh.
after his speech, when he said, BLMs, we have the same, BLM protesters, we have the same views. We believe the system has failed us both. Let's unite and fight. And they're pro LGBT. They provided security for the BLM protests and whatnot. When you saw
Yeah.
like a bunch of white dudes with Hawaiian shirts, they got activated after Duncan, a white boy, was served some papers, and he was killed in the process.
Hmm.
So they're anti-cop, and I get it. They're anti-police and whatnot. And a lot of people in America are anti-police. Let's just call it what it is. Um, and they decided to organize and join forces. Now, he even explained that when Jimmy Dore was questioning him, that not all the factions of the Boogaloo Boys, unfortunately, because the group got bigger, behave the same way, and there is a lot of racists and radicalists within their ranks. He even said it. So don't trust everybody. And I
Right.
remember when they started clashing, and a lot of people started just questioning Jimmy Dore. But he got into explaining what he was doing, and he started talking to different people, different reverends, and people from all the sides. And I'm like, why we want to cancel this man? We have tried to cancel Jimmy Dore at least in this year and last year 17 times. Also, when he did force the vote, simply because AOC and the squad did not like what he said when he called them out. Like, you guys are not pro the people. You guys said that you're progressive, but you're not, because you could withhold your vote from Nancy Pelosi to be the House Speaker until she agrees to put on the Heroes Act, the raise of minimum wage and Medicare for all. And they started bullying to cancel him because they consider him the center and a hateful person and whatnot. And a lot of people try to cancel Jimmy Dore, but then he got like a lot of more followers. And it's insane. Like I said, Even Joe Rogan, like I think it was in March or April, people were trying to cancel him because he just said that he believes that younger people should not get the jab, the C-19 jab, because if you're healthy, your body can fight it. So common sense ain't common, says AOC acts pro Boricua at times, but she moves really funny. Yeah, she's not pro Puerto Rican.
Yeah,
She's definitely not.
unfortunately, she does bow to Nancy Pelosi. I mean, that's her mama.
Yeah, and she
That's the mama there.
she claims she doesn't get any corporate money, but your collectivity does. So what's the point?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is unfortunate that there was kind of like a small window of time in which the squad seemed somewhat to be critical of what was happening with the with Israel and the whole thing with the Palestinian and that conflict that has been going on for a long time. But that was kind of like momentarily. It didn't last long.
Yeah, look, the progressive movement, in my opinion, started in 2007 with the inception of former President Barack Obama.
Right.
Because if you look at Barack Obama, the way we met him in Puerto Rico, I don't know if you were in Puerto Rico when Obama was running for president the first time.
I remember him visiting the island, but that was
People were
after.
raving. People were raving. I don't know if you remember the raving that people had. Oh my God, a black president. Oh my God,
Yeah,
Barack
yeah,
Obama. Yes, we can and whatnot. And people started going insane, you know?
yeah.
So definitely it was because we started hearing socialism through him.
Hmm.
And eventually they called that the progressive squad, and from his way of thinking, a lot of the views of Bernie Sanders actually started being more popular.
Yeah.
And that's when in 2015 he was trying to run for president, but Hillary beat him to the punch. Not because she did, it's because her collectivity actually had some play in it. And we all saw it. I have a lot of friends that actually contributed to that campaign of Bernie Sanders,
Yeah.
and they were disappointed.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders should have ran back in like 2004 or something like that. I think he
Yeah.
would have had a good chance, and not against Bush Jr. I mean, who he was already kind of like making us look back then. I mean, well, Trump makes him look smart, but he was making us look bad back then, and he should have ran for president back then. He would have had one hell of a chance.
Oh
But
yeah.
he waited too long. He waited too long, like in the last few years to run. Him being so old, and uh, I think he would have had a better chance back then. And but now he could have been more of a mentor for somebody who actually wants to make a difference, because it's not who we got. It's not who we got. We got somebody who is a long time establishment president, who's been at it since I was born, since I was a
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
So, and I'm old, and I'm an old man. I have gray hair and all. And Joe Biden was already at it in government. So, but his establishment, and he's just been pushing what he's been doing for the last couple of decades, and Kamala Harris, she's like next in line, just in case something were to happen to Joe Biden, because unfortunately Biden is becoming increasingly kind of incoherent when he talks, and he's not making a lot of sense, and
I
he
don't think
might not.
I don't know if you feel the same way, but I don't think he'll make it till 2024.
Well, I mean, he's gonna
I
have.
don't think so.
If you see him reading more speeches, doing a lot of reading when it comes to his speeches, then that should be kind of like an indication that his mental faculties are not up to par, are not
Yeah, he's a
where they
puppet. He's
should
a
be.
puppet. I think
Yeah.
the person that's ruling us is Kamala. And people don't understand that, but that's why nothing is getting done. And I'm sorry that I'm putting it that way, but it's the truth.
Well,
Look
But
at how she went. Look at how she went to, and she spoke to Guatemala and Mexico like a dictator.
oh, that was an embarrassment. that
She went like a
was
dictator, and I'm
that
like,
was
look, you
that was
have, and I
horrible.
love what AMLO did to Joe Biden when he put him on check.
Yeah.
Because I think he picked up on what they are, and he basically sawned him on a public speech when he said, I put it on my past broadcast, when he said, it's time to forget and look past our politic views and whatnot, and it's
Hmm.
time to be more humanitarian. That's what makes a good ruler. So he
Yeah.
said, I'm not trying to disrespect nor the president of Cuba nor the president of the US, but it's time, for us to set aside the differences. And I hope that you guys will allow my shipment with aid for Cubans to actually reach the island.
Yeah, yeah, because
So
a lot of people that go on about, oh, you see the failed state of Cuba and the socialism, the communism this and socialism that, the failure. Look at Cuba, look at Cuba. Those are the same people that will not that conveniently forget about the fact of the embargo that was placed on Cuba have been placed on Cuba for so many decades, and it has crippled them like that. But maybe, probably, a version of socialism might have worked for them if they were allowed to practice it properly in a way that will actually benefit the people. But if you place an economic embargo, which is an act of war, well, of course it's gonna fail. Of course it's gonna cripple them. Of course it's gonna screw them over.
yeah,
So of
and,
course
and
it's
and
gonna
the
lose their
problem
way there.
is, but you know what, I agree with both sides. I
Mm,
agree with, that's why I said I was really, for the first time in my life, I was really touched by what a politician said. Because if you think about it, both presidents have done the same thing to Cuban people. So Cubans are getting spanked by two Saudis,
yeah.
because you had also the taxation and embargo that the Cuban president just lifted, proving that he could also let some help get in there from
Yeah.
other countries that were not related to the US. He just didn't want it to, because he was punishing the people. And the Castros were also doing the same thing. And I'm like, there's no way that with you having so much land in Cuba,
Hmm.
uh, you're not going to plant food to feed your people. To what degree you're letting the embargo actually, cripple your mind and
Yeah.
actually take it out on your people? And at the same time, I've always said this, and I think I've shared with Justin and Rakim before, when I've said, the reason why I believe, the United States did that on Cuba is because you don't need a socialist country being successful 90 miles away from Florida. Okay. You don't need that, because that will shut down capitalism. That will actually change this country. They don't want a socialist country, because a lot of people associate socialism with communism, and it's not the same thing. Socialism is an economic system, it's not a political one. If you want to look at a socialist democratic nation, is Canada. It's right next to us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're they're not they're not capitalists. The opposite of socialism is not democracy, is capitalism, is a financial system. So basically, they didn't need a socialist country being successful right next to them, because people compare.
Yeah.
And then they won't save face and say, oh, we're the best country in the world, that we're the land of the free and whatnot, even though it's not even in the Constitution that we're free.
No, no, because it's not meant to be a democracy to begin with. The United States was meant to be a constitutional republic. The word
Hmm.
democracy is not in the Constitution. A lot of people don't know that. They
Yep.
think that it was meant to be. They think that the United
Free.
States was meant to be a democracy from the beginning. It wasn't meant to be a democracy, because
Yeah.
you can't find any statement about democracy in the Constitution. The word democracy is not in the Constitution.
Look,
And
there are three words that tell me how this country really is that are not in the Constitution. One is freedom,
yeah,
the other one is woman, and
yeah,
the other one is democracy. None of them are in the Constitution.
Yeah.
So these three things should be telling, because where all those three things actually are not in their constitution. Which country? Russia.
Yeah.
Our longtime enemy, quote unquote enemy. They also don't have none of these three words in their constitution. So we're under the illusion that we're like this free and successful individuals, because we're not looking at the United States from the outside. And that's why I encourage people to travel. When you travel, you can compare and you can realize what system actually is bullshit and which one is not.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um
That's something to give some thought about. Um, but the thing is that it, the whole thing about the censorship is it's still it's very worrisome. I mean, there is something called freedom of speech. There is something called the First Amendment of the Constitution. The First Amendment is not only about freedom of speech. It actually elaborates more on religion, but that's something that should be preserved.
But if you think
And
about it, even with the religion, which is something I'm going to touch on tomorrow on No Bullshit,
mhm,
this country it gives you the freedom to exercise any religion you want, as long as it's God centered.
yeah,
And I have proof of that. I'm going to give the details tomorrow. But look at how God is present in our money, even. Our presidents swear on the Bible and by God. We get
mhm.
married by, the God God centered notion and all that stuff. Our society is built around that principle. So yeah, we have freedom of religion as long as it's based on Christ.
Yeah, in my understanding is that the United States was meant to be more on the secular side, not the kind of like based on religion, which is something that I believe in, the separation of church and religion, church and state, church and government. There should be a a separation between the two, because if you look into history, there is proof in history that bringing together religion and government, it could be used to control people. We don't want theocracies. We know what happens when you have a theocracy. And yeah, I believe in the separation of the two.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something that, it's hilarious to me how, look, I've said it, one of the reasons why I got banned from Twitter for 12 hours and my previous account was shut down
Mhm.
is because when Lil Nas released The Devil Shoe,
Yeah.
I started saying, I said things like Hail Satan. And they started like reporting me and whatnot. I was like, dude, like, we're supposed to live in a country that even Satanists have a space to exist. I'm not a Satanist, but to be honest with you, like, I don't agree with them. They drank the same Kool-Aid as the fanatic Christians,
Yeah.
but they should not be banned and ostracized from society because they believe in the devil. That's retarded.
Well, I mean, those are those kind of like occult ritual shit that
Yeah.
I really don't want to get
Not
into. I
only
really
that,
don't want to know anything about.
look at what happens with voodoo and santeria.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, they're
like,
heavily
it's
demonized. They're
they
heavily
really
demonized, even though the roots are in Christianity. But at least in
exactly.
Santeria, it is. I
It's
mean,
Santeria because they use the saints that Spaniards taught our people
yeah,
and
the
replace it
Catholic,
with their own
Catholic
saints.
saints. Yeah.
Yeah. So why then that's considered the devil, and it's also always under the notion of something dark and antagonistic, when in reality it's just the way they see the world. And I'm
Hmm.
like, that goes to show people, that's our reality. And I think a lot of people either don't accept it because it hurts or because they're angry that they will be like, well, I believe in this country and look the reality. That's the same thing that, like I said, it goes back to Cuba. It's the same thing that happened to them. One of the pastors of my church, when I was in my church, the one that baptized me was a Cuban, an ex pro Castro soldier in Cuba.
Uh-huh.
And he said it. I love Fidel. I would have given my life for him. But when
Mm.
he, changed his his regime right after we won him that battle,
Mhm.
because they lost many battles. He had 40 attempts, I believe, before he became president of Cuba.
Okay.
So they said, after we fought all these battles for you, because you told us we were going to be free from the United States and establish and thrive as Cubans, you change and now you want to benefit yourself. So he basically told every single one of them that if they did not agree, they will be killed. So he had to escape that same night with
No,
his
okay.
wife. So
Yeah.
definitely, it's the same thing right now. That's what's happening. A lot of people in the US are waking up to the reality that the C-19 pandemic showed us. That's the country we live in,
Yeah.
and it's completely sad. It's really sad. We either have to learn how to thrive in it or go to another place.
Yeah, that virus should change the world, and it changed things, it changed our lives, it changed how we see things. It really did a number on us. One little virus.
Oh yeah, one little thing that now they're saying it was lab created. There's confirmation. I think it was the WHO or the CDC. Somebody reported recently that there was proof that it was lab created.
Well, it
I'm
was
like,
it did leak out of a lab in Wuhan, from what I understand. That's
yeah,
the version of it that was told from almost the beginning, and we couldn't say that it was from Wuhan because that was racist. Again,
look,
censorship. Another
yeah,
example.
it's like I said, do the US wants like a cold war with China? Of course. And what better way to do it than to just place the blame on that? That's why I'm questioning if it really happened there. But at the same time, I have to look at it as, um, you know, the Chinese Communist Party, like I
Mhm.
think it was a year or a few years before the lab in Wuhan was created,
Mhm.
petitioned the French some help in building um this lab, and the French and the Chinese decided to design it together, and the French also helped in building it. Now, prior to its opening, the Communist Party started, militarizing the lab without the French government knowing this,
Mhm.
and eventually kicked them out. And then a few months later, or like 1 to 3 months later, eventually, the whole C-19 situation started happening in Wuhan. So we really don't know what's there, what's happening. And I think there's a lot of misinformation out there because, like I said, the internet, it's also bought. They were bought after that Congress meeting that they had. So, it's not a coincidence that they started putting the banners on the C-19 thing and the bags after they had that meeting. And
Mhm.
also the former President Trump was banned from all the platforms. And I'm not saying that it was not a right thing to do. He needed to shut the fuck up, but it shows the amount of control they're having over social media.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's heavily regulated and restricted over there. So there is no freedom of information over there. They have that very, very heavily restricted. So
yeah,
it's very difficult to get facts and corroborate. Can be very
yeah.
difficult to do that. Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. Now I see that Rakim is here. We extended a little bit our combo because it's good. Rakim, how are you? I
You
think
might
the
you might be
the
muted.
yeah. Unmute yourself, Rakim. I think the censors, the cancel culture got him.
Yeah, yeah, it's part of that whole thing with the censorship, man. They wouldn't even let our guy Rakim say anything. Ah,
Yeah, yeah. They're blocking Rakim because he had good points.
ah, ah, shoot.
Oh my God. Well, While Rakim gets here, yeah, we can conclude, like I said, this whole PayPal partnering with ADL. I'm like, people need to wake up to actually, understand what this country is doing right now, and you know actually take some action, or protest against that or something. But I'm what scares me is that we see more people actually, participating in cancel culture because they're going with their feelings. Now Rakim is back. Rakim, unmute yourself.
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I was having some technical difficulties. Actually, I was just fighting off the government. I got free of that those little rope ties that they had me with. You know, they didn't want me to speak, but I managed to fight them off.
Yeah, definitely. The cancel culture was trying to get to you, Rakim.
Yeah, they trying to cancel everything, man. They're coming in people's houses now. Jesus Christ. But but yeah, like what you were just saying about Trump, Denise.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people don't understand when they were rallying for social media to ban Trump, how far it will actually go.
Yeah.
Because once they decided that they wanted Trump to be banned, then that gave them no holds barred to ban anything that they would presume to be hate speech. Um, what's going on now with the alphabet guys, and I'm not talking about the FBI,
Yeah.
um, like with what Ramon was saying earlier about the ADL. They were the blueprint to a lot of these other groups after they obtained finances. The thing is to get enough power and control to be able to say anything that you say that's a matter of your opinion against us is hate speech because I want to be able to further our agenda without someone interrupting, without someone saying that what we're doing, they're against what we're doing. So the thing is, as long as we make a few examples out of people, then other celebrities and other people who have a voice will be too afraid to actually speak on anything regarding our agenda on what we're doing, whether they agree with it or not. So
Yeah.
that's the era that we're living in right now. Of course, we've seen over the years with YouTube. I can remember in 2007 and 2008, YouTube was like a freelance platform where everyone can come up here and voice their opinion about various issues, where you can actually play music, you can actually, interact with different people and make response videos. All of that have now ceased to exist. And now it's a corporate industry or corporate ran industry where is if anything that you say is against the popular social norm of what everyone thinks, your channel could be flagged, your channel could be banned, your comments disappear, various things like that. And with what Ramon was saying earlier within the stream, it's the difference between having an opinion and critiquing something versus hate speech. But
Yeah.
now they blended the two, where no matter what you say, it can be considered hate speech, and whether it's hate speech or not, it can be considered hate speech, and then that'll be used as an excuse to boot you off of the platform. When
But you know
reality,
what's crazy? You know what's crazy? Sorry to cut you off.
no
Eh,
problem.
Something I hate about movements like this and moves like that is that they slip the government into these movements, and I'm gonna tell you how. They start with telling you, "Oh, we're doing this in the effort of eliminating hate speech." It's always like that, but then it always goes eventually, instead of to hate speech, it goes into, anti-government. It never addresses hate speech. Part of that is the regulations. How many times we have seen hate speech and pornography exposed to children in social media, and it never gets flagged. There's one of my Instagram friends that made a point about that. It never gets flagged like it does for the C19, whatever, even if it's a meme or a joke that you post, that gets flagged. But we have not managed to find a way to block pornography and racism. So it sells you the idea that they're going to regulate quote unquote hate, but it always goes to only regulate anti-government. And that's the same thing that this partnership with PayPal and ADL. I don't know if you guys noticed in the document that I was reading when ADL announced it, because I read it right from the ADL page. Um, they slipped there the word anti-government. So I'm like, what's going to be considered anti-government? Because not every single one of us is trying to start a physical war or a civil war. Some of us are just literally trying to better ourselves and just be aware of how things really are. You know? So how many of us are going to be considered anti-government? That's what's scary about this. We're supposed to be able to talk about the government. Why not?
That's what the First Amendment is supposed to be about. It's about protecting people against the government when it comes to, because we are not supposed to be able to be made political prisoners.
Yep.
That shouldn't be happening. Of course, Denise, you and I know of instances in which somebody can be made a political prisoner,
Yeah.
i.e., Pedro Albizu Campos.
Exactly.
It has happened. It can happen. It is unconstitutional, but it can happen. This type of thing, what you're describing, is only going to facilitate it for it to become more common, to become more of the norm. My bad, Rakim. I think I interrupted you.
Rakim.
Oh no, no problem,
Okay.
no problem. Um, no, I agree. I agree. And if you notice, not only with the First Amendment, but what's going on, that's intertwining with the Second Amendment within this country as well. Because for years they've been making regulations on the Second Amendment where they really don't want a lot of the public to be able to have firearms,
Yeah.
which was part of which when the Second Amendment was created, it was to be able to carry firearms to go against a tyrannical government. But now, as time has
Yeah.
went on, was really taking place is that as time has went on, the the amendments that was created in this country is actually going against the agenda of the government. So they're trying to find different ways to weed those amendments out without actually saying, that they're doing that. So that's what we're experiencing right now. With what Ramon was saying earlier, like America is not a democracy. It's really a plutocracy, if you really want to be honest with.
To me, it's an oligarchy, to be honest with you.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. I can definitely see that, but it's mostly ran on money, and
Mhm.
pretty much they're trying to find different ways to regulate your speech, like various countries, except places like China and places like North Korea and Cuba. They're more in your face. The United States is very sneaky because they want to keep that image that that this is a democracy country where you have freedom of speech, because they know that if the public wakes up to what they're doing, it's a strong possibility it can be a rebellion, and they don't want that. So they're trying to find ways to um, really put this message into the kids, because they know that the kids is the next generation. And as long as they, grow up and they already have this mindset, then gradually, as time goes on, things will change from the older way till the way of thinking that they currently are trying to propel into people.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And like I said, guys, we have to, I don't know, just be aware of this. Like I said, it can go in any particular way. It doesn't look good, to be honest with you. And I'm not trying to be a fearmonger or nothing like that, but like we have to still be able to dig a little bit further, always for the truth and the facts, rather than what other people tell us and their fake tears and whatnot. And that's what has led a lot of us to misinformation instead of just looking for stuff, is because people keep putting layers to it. This whole thing with PayPal and ADL and now demanding that other financial institutions add on this campaign to suppress information is just another layer on access to information and history. That's how what it's gonna come down to. And to be honest with you, it's a little scary, but at the same time, if you prepare for it, you won't have to search or dig deeper and have that be a problem. And you will teach your kids as well to be in the lookout for truth and facts, rather than other people's emotions and what other people say and their reactions of things. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. Like I said, I don't mean to scare anybody, because it's not like, oh, tomorrow we're gonna have doomsday or nothing, but just be aware that you need to be in touch with what is really happening, and not the smoke and mirrors that a lot of media tries to sell us. Now I'm gonna proceed, guys, to have your final thoughts. I'm gonna start with Melanated Night, then I'm gonna have Ramon, and then Rakim. So guys, Melanated Night, final thoughts on today's stream.
I think it was good. I think this conversation is needed. I think we can do a different one too about the cyberbullying thing.
Hmm.
Like about it's not important. Not saying that it's in. I'm lacking a word. Sorry, I'm at work. But anyway, I think it was good. I think these conversations need to be had because a lot of people, we have back and forth about censorship. So it's good to get out our opinions about it, what we think, and like having a chamber where we can have different opinions about it.
Yeah,
Because we could also come up with our own solution to it too if we get together with people who have a different mindset than we. But did you want me? Can I do this channel thing real quick
yeah,
before I
go
get
ahead.
off?
Go ahead.
Okay. For common sense, ain't common. Uh, the stream that I'm gonna do, I don't really want to do a topic. It's not really a topic thing. That's Denise, and that's with them at all. No bullshit. I just want this is just a stream where if you do want to come and talk, you can talk. But it's also a stream for people who like to talk a lot of crap, and I just want to let them talk. The only thing I require out of that stream is if you're gonna come in there and you disagree or you dislike me, you're gonna have to tell me why, and it's gonna have to be
A grown up
articulate.
combo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't have this name calling, and we can't. All right, we
Oh, the cancel
Hello?
culture. Go him.
can't have this thing where
Oh, okay.
can't have this thing where we're like arguing back and forth and being immature because I'm seeing that in certain comment sections where you have to say the same thing over and over again for people to understand what you're talking about, even if it's the simplest thing. So if we're gonna talk and you don't like me, then what we're gonna have to do is have an adult conversation about it. And if you overtalk me, and if you start cussing or saying things out of term, I'm gonna have to take you down. But it's just an opinion. It's just so people can vent because I'm kind of tired of them getting up on streams like this and doing it. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, Melanated Night, and definitely, yeah, we should also. I'm gonna put you backstage. We should also have a space where we could talk and vent about what we think without people just getting emotional about it simply because they don't like it. Now, Ramon, any final thoughts on today's stream?
This is definitely one subject that needs to be talked about more because it is a very real thing that it's it's being attacked, it's being targeted, it's being put kind of like on the chopping block for it to be limited on people. And I do agree with what Rakim was saying about the First Amendment and the link with the Second Amendment, because people being able to protect themselves, it's kind of like something that could be too threatening for the government. Now, it's true that there are like 400 million guns in the country. Like most of them are in private hands, but they are on a relatively small amount of private hands. There are too many people that don't believe in it at all, and they believe that only the government should have the firearms, and they actually believe that the government are gonna protect them, and they actually believe that the cops are gonna show up in a matter of seconds, like in the movies and in the cop shows. And that's not true. That's not true. That's not the reality. People should be able to let that sink in before they put their whole trust in their safety on the government. Because there are some honest police officers that will admit they can't be there at the moment of a crime being committed. They
Yeah.
can show up after the fact, and the first line of defense should be one's own person to be able to protect oneself. And the pandemic showed that. The pandemic showed that
Yeah.
because when people started panicking over toilet paper, many were also kind of panicking over being able to protect themselves, and they were buying guns for the first time and ammunition, and they didn't know anything about it. People that usually were anti-gun, then they understood that the police were not going to be able to be there for them if there was a situation that involved their safety and they needed to protect themselves. So definitely the Second Amendment is something that should be protected. If we
Yeah.
are law abiding, tax paying citizens in this country, then the Second Amendment is also our right.
Exactly. And you know what? It's something that I even said to Radical. I believe that in teenage years, kids should be instructed in firearms from theory to execution when they're about to graduate from high school. That is something that should be taught in schools so that people responsibly can use a firearm.
I
You
think
know?
I think that was a thing in certain parts of the country. That used to be kind of a thing. I don't know about it being taught in schools, but there will be kind of like clubs where adults will teach younger kids how to shoot. But of course, that was like maybe only one particular demographic that had that to themselves, and it was organized, and it was not uncommon for even high schoolers to have like a truck with guns in it because they could go hunting afterwards. That was a thing, but that was a long time ago. And they could teach kids how to shoot responsibly, which I think it should be done with our kids and maybe other kids of other communities that are of people that are citizens that should be able to also protect themselves. I hate violence. I'm not trying to. I don't have this fantasy to going out and killing anyone.
Yeah, me
Absolutely
neither.
not. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about protection, being
Yeah,
able to
defense.
to protect oneself, to defend oneself and one's loved ones and so on. We should be able to have access to that in a responsible manner, of course.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you 1,000%. Thank you very much, Ramon.
Mhm.
I'm gonna put you backstage, but definitely I agree with what you said completely. And like I said, it's something that it should be taught in schools, and people should not start feeling scared that we have our young children and teenagers learning how to properly use a firearm. It should be all across the board, because that's the only thing that's going to bring equality. Because how many people are going to be willing to, if we were to give a firearm to every person, every American, how many people will get robbed at gunpoint, knowing that that person and every person on the street has a firearm as well? What advantage they will have? None. Now, Rakim, final thoughts on today's stream.
Oh well, my final thoughts, Denise, especially what you were just saying. Look, my first name's Smith and my last name is Wesson. Okay, because I'm a very big advocate for the Second Amendment. But back to the First Amendment. When it comes to the First Amendment, it is definitely being attacked. It is something that people need to be very concerned, because what we're dealing with is a group of people are critical thinkers, and then some people just don't mind having other people do the thinking for them. And the ones that don't mind people doing the thinking for them, unfortunately, are in a majority. So they're swaying whichever way that the ocean ripples. And
Yeah.
with that situation, unfortunately, the government is going to be able to ease more and more regulations in as far as when it comes to freedom of speech. And, groups that are in positions of power, when it comes to their agenda, anything that goes against their agenda can be taken as disrespect and it can cost you your livelihood. For instance, with the alphabet community, not that long ago, it was a video where it was a young boy that was in a alphabet bar and he was dancing on the tables. To me, that's pedophilia,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and now they even want to include that in the community. There's even people in the alphabet community that are fighting against that. They don't
Yes,
want to be identified in that group.
yes, yes, because unfortunately, even for some within the alphabet community, they're realizing when things have gotten out of hand. And not every person agrees with what is going on. Some people was in it for the right causes, for equality, being respected as people, and then others are just using that as a smokescreen to be able to get power, to be able to operate and control things in a manner that they want to. So that's what we're currently seeing right now. As far as the situations as well, with seeing different gender fluid bathrooms where it's a possibility that a person can dress up, a man can dress up as a woman and go into a bathroom with children or go into a bathroom with other women and possibly attack or assault those children. Um, Also, what we've seen with Kevin Samuels, as far as people not agreeing with his people not agreeing with his rhetoric on certain things or not agreeing with the way he perceives certain things and wanting to cancel him because they feel that their feelings are hurt. When in reality, the women that are calling into this show are calling to hear his opinion. And that's all
Yeah.
it is. It's just a matter of opinion. It's not hate speech. He's not wishing death on anyone. He's
Hmm.
not he's not
Harassing
he's
anybody.
not harassing anybody. These are people that are calling into this man's show who wants to hear his opinion. And just because we're in the age now where nobody wants to tolerate nobody's opinion if it goes against their agenda, people are, trying to go out their way to cancel people. And it's gotten out of control because of what we're teaching our children, that if anyone hurts your feelings, you rally up an army to go cancel these people. And then that person will shut up forever. It'll almost be as if that person disappeared and never lived on the earth. And that's exactly what is happening now. Everything is so politically correct to the point that if you even have an opinion that differs on anything, then you will be targeted and your life will be made to live in hell. So we have to be very careful on how we address that situation, just like what you were saying earlier with the slow taps, even different groups of that nature. When it comes to the message, I don't agree with their message, so I stay off of their videos because it's not a situation where they can hurt my feelings to the point that I want these people taken off of the internet, because what that does is affect my rights as an American citizen. For someone who dislike anything that I say can have me taken off the internet as well. So it's a domino effect, and us as a group of people that critically think have to be very careful, and we have to be able to spot the red flags, and we have to be able to be in a position where we can counteract this stuff before it gets to a point where we can't. And before we know it, our rights of free speech are taken away from us.
I
That's all I have to
disagree.
say.
I disagree, Rakim. If I want to dress up as a woman and go to Victoria's Secret and watch those grown women try on bras, I have the right to do so.
Oh
No,
my
no.
God. Radical Latino.
And before I go, shout out to my boy Melanated Knight. I'll definitely be over there on the echo chamber to
Oh
come and
yeah.
kickback.
Friday. Oh yeah, Friday we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Uh,
Thank you, Rakim, for
Okay.
sharing your thoughts. I'm gonna put you backstage. Radical Latino. I don't know how much of the stream you catch. I hope you're doing well. What are your thoughts on it?
I actually didn't catch anything, to be honest with you.
Oh wow.
I swear to God, I just came in just to be a little troll. My thoughts on something I don't know nothing about because I didn't catch anything is there's wrong sides and good sides. There's here and there and back in there. You know what I mean? You got to hear both sides. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
You can't just blame one side and not understand the other. So what I'm gonna say is just be open minded, guys. Okay, be open
Yeah.
minded and just try to hear everybody out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because to be honest with you, it's getting kind of ridiculous. And it goes back to like what I want to say as my final thoughts. There is one of my favorite sci fi movies. I don't know if you have watched it. It's called Equilibrium with Christian Bale and Sean Bean.
Uh huh.
Another movie where he dies. But um, I'm gonna share with you guys what the movie's about so that you can understand what I'm talking about. But basically, in a futuristic world, a regime has eliminated war by suppressing emotions. Books, art, and music are strictly forbidden, and feelings is a crime punishable by death. Cleric John Preston, interpreted by Christian Bale, is a top ranking government agent responsible for destroying those who resist these rules. When he misses a dose of prosium, a mind altering drug that hinders emotion, Preston, who has been trained to enforce strict laws of the new regime, suddenly becomes the one capable of overthrowing it. That movie is amazing, okay? But it goes to show how we're letting this thing happen as well when we go one way or the other. Just because you're a right winger, that doesn't make you right, and just because you're a left winger, it doesn't make you right. It goes back to something that Melanated and I used to tell me all the time. We're both. We're not lefties and right winged. We're just simply in the middle because we have some views that we align with from both sides. And the more you find that balance in your life between left and right, the more stable you will become and less reactive
Yeah.
to what either side says.
Yeah.
And I feel that that's what's missing in today's society. And it's getting out of control with the censorship on the internet, to be honest. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, if that's wait that was your stream today, censorship?
Yep.
Oh, I agree. No,
You're stupid.
it's,
Oh my
oh no,
god.
I didn't even know what your stream. To be honest, I didn't know what your stream was about. But yeah, I do believe that censorship is a little crazy and it's overblown. There's a lot of people out here extremely sensitive. People can't just say certain things and oh no, you might get canceled and all of that stuff. So I do feel like there a censorship is overblown. Is it right for a certain group of people? Of course, that without a doubt, of course it is. They need to be shut down. You know what I mean? But when it goes to the
Of
overall,
course, for example, criminal behavior should be, uh, taken away from the internet. Racism. It's like I shared before you came
yeah,
in. I have the one of the white friends that I have was sharing today. Something very interesting on his mindset. When he said we still not understanding censorship because if only social media would put the same amount of effort that they're putting into regulating and flagging everything related to the C-19 pandemic to the point where you can post a meme that is just making fun of the whole thing and they will flag it with the C-19.
yeah,
But he said, where are the flags for racism?
yeah. It tells you that these companies are controlled by white supremacist you know,
White
oli-
supremacy.
oligarchies, because
Yeah.
the thing is, you get your thing flagged by just saying that, hey, taking a certain vitamin will probably curb the thing. You know, I don't want to
Hmm.
get your,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We call it C19
yeah,
here.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
let's say
Okay,
that.
the C will curve the C, and boom, your whole thing gets taken down. You know, and disinformation. Yeah, it's I don't know if they would that's what they were talking about, but disinformation is a huge part of it, because just for example, the baby didn't say anything about homosexuality whatsoever, but now the talking heads are making it about homosexuality. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you guys have to fill me in with the baby.
So the baby
Bro, Tip, come on, hop
was
on.
on was on his concert and said, "Yo, if you have HIV, throw your phones up in the air. If you're a girl that her choach don't stink, put your phone up in the air. If you're a dude that didn't suck dick in the parking lot, throw your phones up in the air." That's all he said.
Oh wow.
And now the conversation discourse about the baby is about homosexuality and HIV. He didn't say none of that. But if you're going based on what they're talking about now, the 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 mentality of it, the how the narrative, now the narrative is about homosexuality, when in reality it was never about that, you know. So uh that's the thing. So we have to be very clear, and also be very careful on how we maneuver in these spaces, you know, and make sure that we curve some of the narratives that go against our best interest. For example, Latinx, that's something that we should be calling that out every single day. We shouldn't be allowing Latinx, and even the word used around our spaces. We should be checking that. You know, there's certain people who are Latinx, and there's certain people who are not, but do not start claiming the whole group as Latinx. That right there is just information.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Like I said, it's getting out of control, and I don't know, like whenever you have the time, go back and jump into the PayPal and ADL partnership, because now PayPal and ADL, I touched it on the stream. It's such a shame that it wasn't on my right schedule so you guys can hop on, but ADL and PayPal partner up to defund and cancel PayPal accounts of organizations that they deem as hate speech and anti-government. So if you're getting donations or whatnot through PayPal, now you'll be shut down. And now they're asking other financial institutions to join them in this. So you probably
Yeah.
get your money taken away.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. I'm glad I'm probably low on the radar with that whole thing. But if I was probably high in the radar with it, I probably would get hit with that. Just want to give it a big shout out to Brotep. You know,
Me too,
I
bro.
don't know.
What's up?
I don't know when you're gonna stream again, but shout out to you. I'm a go because I got other things to do. But shout out
No
to
doubt,
Brotep.
man.
All right, peace.
Okay,
All
take
right,
care,
man.
Rod.
Shout out to
Uh,
Red. Shout
Bro,
out to Denise.
it's
Like,
been a
comment,
long
subscribe. Yeah, it's been a
time.
minute. No, people don't understand this, but I mean, not that they don't understand. They understand. It's just I have to kind of remind people that I'm an artist. I'm not like a rapper. I mean, an artist. Like I draw.
Lil bro tap.
Not like the
Lil bro
baby
tap.
or anything. Yeah, you know. So every time I do a live stream, I'm leaving money on the table to do it. So basically, like I always have clients, right? So if I take time to do all these all day streams, I'm not drawing. So I'm not making money. So recently I have a lot of goals, a lot of things to pay for,
Hmm.
including bills, but a lot of projects to be doing, including the comic book, the Black Star Trek one,
Yeah, I
which
saw that. That's amazing, by the way.
oh, thank you. And so stuff like that, I gotta make money to pay for that stuff. So I've been a little busy. So
Yeah, that's
sorry
good.
everybody, a long time no hear from and everything, but
Yeah, as long as you're making money,
Yeah.
Trust me, we're gonna respect that, because a bad thing was that, you were just being lazy and whatnot, but that's not the case. It's you're working really, really hard for
Yeah.
what you want, and that's admirable. So I'm glad to hear back from you. Now, do you have any final thoughts on, what we were discussing? And also, don't go anywhere after the show, because we're gonna have a combo backstage.
All
So,
right, no problem.
what are your thoughts on this before we close down today's show?
Yeah, I mean, I came in late on this, but the censorship thing, it's very interesting because we used to think of censorship as something the right wing would do to people. Like in case, let's say you want to protest something that's happening, like a war, a senseless war that Republicans have plunged us into, whether it's Iraq or Afghanistan, over what do you call that stuff? Weapons of mass destruction. That's a thing that happened with our parents, right? In our parents' day. But
Yeah,
now it seems to be it seems to be that the censorship is happening on both ends of the political spectrum. The right wing will censor you, but now the left wing censors you really hard, like with the baby. The baby, just like my man, Rad just said, he didn't say anything homophobic and didn't isolate or target gay people when he said what he said. He was basically talking about depravity. Like, while you're in the parking lot, you're here for a concert. Why are you in a parking lot giving oral sex? You know? And he did say stuff about the HIV thing, but gay people aren't the only ones walking out here with HIV, you know?
yeah,
So why did he get canceled? He got canceled because he's not walking in lockstep with the dominant narrative. The dominant narrative is and the dominant narrative is whatever they say it is at any particular time. If it was not okay to attack gay people 5 minutes ago and it's okay now, that's the dominant narrative. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. So
yeah.
that
It's
that those are
very
my yeah, those are my final thoughts on that.
definitely, definitely. I'm gonna put you backstage real quick, but don't go
No.
anywhere. Guys, thank you very much, Bro Tip, and definitely yes. And the fact, like I said, censorship accelerated during the C-19 pandemic. Unfortunately, like I said, we're seeing financial institutions now trying to defund people simply because of their opinions. So, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. Such a weird and awkward schedule that I had today. And for those who are catching me on the replay, thank you very much, guys, for allowing me into your homes and your devices. Uh, you know, and definitely, I think I'm just scratching the surface of this. I had way more information to provide, but I think I'm gonna separate this into a series so that we can talk about this. So watch out for that one for part two, because we're going to bring actual receipts of how many instances of misinformation we have actually had simply because it doesn't align with people in power. So, guys, thank you very much for having me. Thank you to all the panelists that joined today. Thank you very much for all your views, your comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. And also, tomorrow, don't forget that we're going to have the discussion of religion and the commercialization of Christ on No Bullshit. So, make sure you tune in tomorrow. For that stream. Without anything else, I want to, wish you guys a very good night. And I'll see you guys on Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time and 7 p.m. Eastern time. It has been a pleasure. And this is another episode of Latin Explaining with Denise, all about finances and business. Thank you very much.